Hi there, I'm Kevin O'Connor, and welcome back to Ask This Old House. If you've got a problem with your house, we'd love to hear from you because we have the experts who have got the answers. And you never know, we may send one of them to your house. Good morning, Roger.
Morning, Kev.
What are you working on?
Well, Kevin, people love hydrangeas with all their beautiful different colored flowers. We're going to a garden center to show you what type of hydrangeas you can grow in your area.
Sounds good.
Now, we had a homeowner write us that her hydrangea had no flowers.
No flowers on a hydrangea? What's the point?
Don't worry about it. We fixed it.
All right, well, we'll check back in with you later. Hey, good morning, Richard.
Hey, Kevin, how are you?
All right, how you doing?
Good. Well, one of the most popular projects in America by a homeowner on a weekend is a deck.
Sure.
If you do it well, it's great, but if you don't, it can be really unsafe.
It's true, and you know, we hear about decks pulling away from houses and even collapsing all the time.
Sure.
And in fact, we heard from a homeowner who had one that was in dire condition, so we sent them just the right guy.
Well, Tom, we moved here about a year and a half ago.
I like the house, Rob. It's very nice.
Thank you, and we really love our yard, too. We've been doing a lot of gardening.
Oh, you got a nice garden in the corner there? That looks great.
We spend a lot of time out here. And, you know, the house is great. However, when we first looked at it, we did notice that the deck was separating from the house. We did not want to make it a deal breaker, so we didn't bring it up to the seller.
So you kept your mouth closed. Well, look right here. I can see that the deck is up where it belongs. It's tight to the house. But you're right. As I look at the deck, I can actually see that it's going down. It's actually dropping. You can see where it was. It was up here probably to these shingles, and it's down a good 2.5, 3 inches. And look at this. I can put my hand in there. You got a space of about 1 inch. I see a nail right there that's bent. That's probably one of the connectors that was holding the deck to the house. You know what we need to do is take a look underneath and see what's going on.
Let's go look. Watch your head.
Oh, wow. What I noticed is the deck is framed with pressure-treated 2x10s. They're 16 inches on center, and for this size deck, this is the right size for the joist to be.
That's good.
These joists sit in these timber hangers right here, and they're fastened to this 2x10 right here, which is called a ledger board. But what I don't see is any mechanical fasteners through the ledger holding the deck to the house.
So what is holding the deck to the house?
Well, I see a couple of nails. That's about it.
And that's not safe, is it?
No, this deck's ready to fall.
What are we going to do?
We're going to jack it back up.
All right.
Now, to keep the deck against the house when we jack it up, I drove 2 stakes in the ground and another board diagonally against the deck that will hold it into position. The reason I had you sit on that board was to shorten the distance between the deck and the stake. Now I want to straighten the board out, and that will put tension on the board and the deck, pushing it tight against the house. Now, to push the deck back up into the position I want it to be at, I've tacked this 2x6 up underneath the floor joist. I've laid another 2x6 on the ground underneath the 2x6. I've cut another 2x6 a little bit longer than the distance is between the two. I'll tap this in with my sledgehammer, and that will force the deck up. I don't want to drive it in all the way yet. I'm going to move over and go to the next 2x6. Now we're going to work our way down to the other end. Now the deck has to go up about 2 inches on this end, so I cut these studs about 2 inches longer. I'm going to use my reciprocating saw to cut any nails that may be holding the ledger to the house. All right, Rob, we have the deck up where we want it to be, but now we have to get it back in against the house tightly. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to use a couple of different fasteners. We're going to use this one right here to thread into the sill. This is the top of the foundation. Sitting on top of the foundation behind these shingles is a beam. That's called the sill. So we're going to drill some holes in the ledger and thread these into it.
Sounds good.
I've chosen a drill bit the same diameter as the lag bolt that we're going to use. I want to pre-drill the ledger so that I don't split it, but I do not want to drill into the sill. I want to drill down about 3 inches from the top, holding the drill on an angle, so when the lag bolt goes in, it will get into the meat of the sill. Okay, now I can push the lag bolt into the hole. Let's get it started a little bit. All right, now we'll just screw it into the sill using the impact wrench. Okay, I don't want to drive it home yet. That's just touching. Now we'll go to the next one. With the lag bolts all in place, I'll just snug them up. Here's the second fastener that we're going to use, and we're going to use it to fasten the ledger to the foundation. So it's a masonry fastener. I drill a 1/2 inch hole into the foundation, and I drive this into the hole. When I tighten this up, pulling the ledger in tight, it actually tries to pull this out of the hole. At the end of it, there's this little cone. This sleeve will try to slide up to the cone, expanding itself in the hole, and you can't pull it out. Now I'm going to drill another hole in the bottom of the ledger right here, but there's a space behind the ledger. To make up for that space, I've made a pressure-treated filler. Now I'll drill through the ledger, in through the filler. When I tighten up the masonry fastener, it won't split the ledger. Using a masonry bit, I'm going to drill a 1/2 inch hole into the foundation. Okay, Rob, take one of those masonry fasteners and put it in the hole. Drive it nice and tight right in there with a hammer, as far as you can get it to go in. Okay, now tighten that down with the impact wrench. That's good. All right, let's drill another hole. All right, we've fastened the ledger to the house. First by lagging it into the sill, second by bolting it into the foundation. Now there's one more thing that concerns me, the size of these timber hangers.
What's wrong with them?
Well, they're actually too short. These timber hangers are designed for 2x8s or 2x6s. You have 2x10s. So what they should have used is a timber hanger like this. It's taller. It's designed for a 2x12 or a 2x10. It goes up higher onto the ledger. When you use a timber hanger that's too short, you run the risk of splitting the ledger. Now, we could remove all of the nails, take all the hangers off, but that's a lot of work. We could also use this timber hanger here and slip it right over it, but the timber hanger is too narrow. So when I drive it up, it actually spreads, and I can't nail it tight against the joist. So this is what I brought you. I brought you a hanger that is designed for engineered lumber. It's actually thicker. Engineered lumber is 1 3/4 inches. This is 1.5 inches. This will allow me to slip it right over the existing hanger, tight against the bottom, and now I can nail it in place. All right, let's get these jacks out of here and see how we did.
Get this in. Well, let's see how it looks. It's nice and flush to the house.
And there's no more bounce, so it's nice and safe.
Thanks a lot, Tom.
My pleasure, Rob.
Guys, this one's pretty simple. They're plastic, and they have 3 different size grooves. What is it?
Gentlemen, you have discovered my comb collection through the years.
You actually have one of those.
I actually do. Let me take you back. This was in the 70s. bigger teeth right here, a lot more hair, and I really kept it fluffed up.
Yeah.
Over time, I needed a different comb. In the 80s, see the little smaller teeth right there, and I kept it more slick back.
Nice.
The 90s, even smaller still. Now I'm pretty much down to a face cloth.
That really is sad, Richard. That really is sad.
Well, you got the grooming part right.
Thank you.
Everything else was wrong. Now, I mean, what guy has got time to give themselves a proper manicure? Huh?
Good point,
I
Kevin.
mean, between the clipping of the nails, the working on the cuticles thing
Yeah,
right there,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then spraying on the enamel.
Oh, it's awful.
These guys right here, lickety split, no problem at all. You stick the fingers in there, and all of a sudden you take this up like a can of spray paint.
Quick player.
Good to go.
Well, you look
Yeah,
great.
I like it.
Back to work.
But wrong. These are actually hose racks. This is for an extension cord. This is for an air hose, and this one's for a garden hose. You could mount it outside on a tree or just in your garage, and you wrap your hose up in it, and the beauty of it is when you pull on the hose, you only take out as much as you need. You don't uncoil the whole thing. So if I want to go 10 feet,
Yeah.
there I am.
Pretty good.
I like it.
And Richard, you could use this for your back hair. You still have some of that, don't you?
This homeowner loves color. Just take a look at the shutters on her house. But she's having trouble with the color on some of her shrubs out back. Let's see if we can give her a hand. Good morning, Nancy.
Good morning.
I like your garden. In
Thank
fact,
you.
have some of my favorite plants here.
Thanks.
Sedum Autumn Joy.
I love those.
Just starting to come into flower. It'll
Yeah.
flower late summer and all the way through the fall.
I got a lot of mileage out of one plant.
Oh, you've been dividing them.
I have. I've got about 10 now.
Well, that's a great tip. And a stilby that looks like it's just finishing flowering.
It was beautiful. It just went by. It was a beautiful pink this year.
So these are the old flowers.
Yeah.
That's a nice plant.
It was nice and big. The flowers were
Looks,
gorgeous.
it looks really happy there, but we got a plant that's not so happy over
Yeah.
here. Look at the leaves on this hosta.
Yeah, I see these. I didn't know if it was ants or...
No, I think you get a lot of sun in this backyard.
It's very
And I
hot.
think it's too hot. Hosta's really like a half a day to a full day of shade. They do better there, so maybe that'll have to be moved. But you emailed me about a hydrangea.
I did.
This one looks great.
It's beautiful. Except there's no flowers.
Well, you want it all.
I do.
So give me the history of this plant.
Well, I bought it about 4 years ago at a garden center. And it had beautiful blue flowers. But
Big blue moundy ones?
Yes.
Okay.
after they went by, the next year there was nothing. And I haven't had anything since.
For 4 years.
For 4 years.
Have you tried any remedies?
Yep, I have friends who told me to try different things, and I tried. I even dug them up and tried different things to put in soil, and nothing. This is what I get, beautiful green leaves.
All right, from the description of the flower, the blue mounty one, I'm sure that this is a Nico blue hydrangea. Now, Nico blue hydrangea likes to grow in zones 6 to 8. Think of the United States as divided into different zones, and each zone is determined by the low temperature of an average winter. 6 to 8 is fairly warm. You are in zone 5. That's colder than zone 6. So what happened is this plant dies back to the ground every winter. And if you look here, you can see these stems. These should be covered with blue flowers right now. But because it's not properly zoned, the plant died back all the way to the base, so you didn't get any flowers.
Right.
For the plant to survive, it had to put out new growth, and that's all the green you see here. But there are no flower buds on these for this year.
Right.
But there is, in fact, a flower bud down inside here for next year. The problem is, because the plant's in the wrong zone, it's going to get killed to the ground again every year, and you're not going to get any flowers. You're just going to get nice green leaves. What I think we should do is find a hydrangea that looks like the Nico blue, but is suited for your climate. Let's take a look.
Great.
Nancy, the reason I love coming to garden centers like this time of year is all the hydrangeas are in bloom, and we can really see what they're going to look like. The first one I wanted to show you is called PG hydrangea, and this is this tree form one here. It has flowers on it that are going to end up being at least 12 inches long, absolutely gorgeous. And they turn brown and make a nice cut flower. This tree is actually going to get up 15 or 20 feet tall.
Wow.
A little big for your house.
Sure is.
But in front of a Victorian house, it fits perfectly.
That it does.
Now, over here we have a native hydrangea. This is Hydrangea arborescens. It has a white flower on it. Native to Florida, but will do well in zones 3 to 9.
Okay, so that would grow at my house.
It would grow at your house. And when it gets covered with flowers, it actually will fall over. The weight of the flowers is so big. Over here, we have Hydrangea macrophylla lace cap.
These are pretty.
Right, if you look at these, the flower is flat. It's not like the big dome flower we're used to. Next to it, we have Hydrangea macrophylla hortensis, also called mop heads. And you can see now we're getting into those big mop head flowers like your Nico blue.
Right, but these aren't blue.
No, they're not blue, and that's because of the soil. When the hydrangea is grown in alkaline soil, the flowers tend to be on the pink side. When it's grown in acidic soil, you get those nice blue flowers.
Oh.
But when you're looking at hydrangeas, we have to look for more than just the flowers. We have to make sure the hardiness of the plant, so you are going to get flowers where you live. This is a unique plant in that it flowers on old wood and new wood. So even if this plant got knocked back by the winter, the new growth would come out and you'd still get flowers.
So I couldn't destroy this one.
Can't destroy this one. I think it'd be a good choice for your garden.
Great.
So let's grab a couple and head back.
Okay, great.
All right, Nancy, what do you think?
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's loaded with flowers.
It is, but it's so small.
Well, you're a great gardener, and I know you'll take good care of it. This time next year, it'll be twice this size.
Okay.
But before we can plant this, we have to get the other hydrangea out. So what I want you to do is take this iron rake, pull all the mulch around the hydrangea, and pull it back. I'll tie it up, and then we can get after it with the shovels.
Okay.
All right, Nancy, that looks good. Now what we're going to use is called a transplanting shovel. You can see it has a long steel blade on it and a place to really push down with your feet.
Okay.
Okay? What I want to do is come out about a foot from the stems, all right? And we're just going to drive down in the ground as deep as you can. I want you to go all the way around without lifting, okay? Don't try to pry it up until we cut the roots all the way around. Now, the hydrangea is a pretty shallow root system. What I want you to do, line up opposite me. Put your transplanting shovel in as far as you can. Okay? We've cut all the roots, so now we're just trying to get under it and lift up so we can get it out of here. We're close. All right, would you grab that piece of burlap over there and put it down for me? There you go.
Okay.
I'm just going to drag this out of the way, all right?
Okay.
All right, Nancy, we want a hole that's just about the same depth as the pot the hydrangea's in, but I want to dig it 2 or 3 times as wide.
Okay.
Because you wanted blue flowers, we're going to add aluminum sulfate to the soil. This will make it more acidic. I'm going to add about a cup, and I'm going to add it to all the soil that we're going to use on this plant. I'm even going to put some in the bottom of the hole. And then in addition, while we have the opportunity, I'm going to add some compost to the soil because this will improve how the water drains through the soil, also make it nice and light so that the roots can grow through. I'm going to put this in here. You just take and mix it all in, all right?
Okay.
Turn it right over. I'm going to get 4 or 5 scoops now, and then we'll add 4 or 5 more as we're planting. Now what I'm going to do is just take the plant right out of the pot, and I'm going to set it in the hole. First thing I want to do is check is the height. I want to make sure that this root ball is slightly higher than that. I never want to put the plant in too low.
Okay.
The other thing I'm going to do is look at the face of the plant. So I want to put the best side or the face out to where we're going to see all those flowers.
Okay.
Now what I want you to do is take your claw, and I want to go around and very lightly scratch the outside of the pot where the ball, where the roots are, just to loosen it up a little bit so they can grow out into our nice new soil. And once this is done, we'll start backfilling. What I'm doing is I'm just continuing to mix the compost and the aluminum sulfate together and then bring it over around the plant.
Okay.
See, would you give me a few shovelfuls of soil over here? I'm going to make a ring right around the plant so that it'll hold water. And we'll be able to really soak this plant in good. I also like to add a little starter fertilizer and some superphosphate when I'm putting in a new plant. There you go. I want it filled all the way to the top of the ring. Let's soak this in good. Once it drains, we'll level off the dirt, rake the mulch in, and we're done.
Okay, sounds good.
There you go, Nancy. There's your blue flower.
That looks great. But will I have flowers next year?
Now, with the right plant in the right zone, I can guarantee it.
Great. Thank you very much.
Now, Roger, you added aluminum sulfate to that hydrangea. Can it actually change the color of the flower?
The aluminum sulfate makes the soil more acidic, and with acidic soil, you tend to get a blue-colored flower on the hydrangeas. As the soil goes back to basic, you get a pink-colored flower.
Pretty cool.
Now, Roger, I actually cut my hydrangeas all the way to the ground in the fall.
Right, because you thought they were big and ugly and dead.
Exactly.
Well, they weren't. The plant worked all summer to make flower buds on those stems, and you cut them all off. So the next year you had...
No buds.
There you go. So what happens is, I like to prune in the spring, and if you look in here, you'll see these stems. They look brown and they look dead, but look, there'll be buds that'll pop out in the spring. So if there's dead above them, you make a cut. Otherwise, you leave those buds, and that's where your flowers will come from.
So put up with the deadwood in the fall and then deal with it in the spring.
And make sure you have the right zone for your hydrangea, or your shrub or tree. Whatever you're buying, you're in the right zone.
All right, great information, guys. Thanks. We hope you enjoyed the show, and until next time, I'm Kevin O'Connor
I'm Roger Cook.
I'm Richard Theory.
And I'm Tom Silver.
for Ask This Old House. Never go near the garden unless I'm in the zone. Right, so not cats.
If you have a question about your house or a home improvement tip you'd like to share, please let us know. Visit our website at pbs.org for expert advice, step-by-step videos, and much more. Next time on Ask This Old House.
Roger, looks like you're getting some of the bottom off.
Roger battles to bust up this boulder.
The Rock's winning.
And the guys ask,
Sand winds up to 125 miles an hour.
what is it? Oh my God! That's next time